Stage one is networking. Stage two is a really niche audience, like say LinkedIn.
Yep.
Mostly LinkedIn is what we're talking about. Stage three is going broad, so going viral on Instagram and whatnot.
Yeah.
Stage four is own.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the Puzzle Factory.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Great to be here.
This is my new studio. I built it over the weekend.
Mate, this looks
so
fantastic.
yeah.
You've done a great job.
Yeah, and I know you've travelled 2 hours to get here, mate.
But I appreciate you for making me feel at home.
No, obviously we're not in our home studio today. We are at the Attention Seeker. Stan's very graciously agreed to come on the podcast, so thank you very much, mate.
My pleasure.
So obviously you're on a mission to do 100 podcasts at the minute, right?
Yeah.
We've sort of touched on that.
Yeah.
Where are you up to?
Yeah.
And why are you doing that?
Yeah, good question. I'm probably just shy of 30 at the moment, almost halfway in the year. And ideally I get to the 100 somewhere by the end of the year, but most of it weighted towards the end of the year because it's part of my book launch. And that's kind of the why, is that I'm writing a book. It's about attention, how to get it, and the stages of it. What I want to do is that I've got a real range of audiences that will get to hear it. Everyone needs some marketing and attention. It's not a thing isolated to one industry. Everyone needs it. And so by spreading that out, it'll help me get more book sales, hopefully. Yeah. I don't necessarily need the book sales to make money because you don't make money on book sales, but just get that awareness out there. So, and also, just for anyone listening, it's a real good hack to get easy, cheap content. You know, I spent an hour and a bit with you. You're going to go put this content all out. That's very affordable. You know, most people try to go make, you do make a podcast. So people know when you make a podcast, it's not actually that cheap to make. Maybe money you don't spend a lot because you might do it all yourself, but that's a lot of time. A lot of time.
Especially when you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. Especially when you're first starting out. So actually, I tell a lot of people, don't start a podcast. Just try getting other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
Because it's way cheaper.
I've tried that. Nobody had asked me. Who are you, mate?
You got to rub the right shoulders, mate. Yeah. But that's kind of it. That's why I'm doing it.
Nah, cool. So sort of following on from that, I don't want to bash the backstory too much because I'm sure you're sick of doing it at this point. But can we just get brief history, where you're from, what your background is, what led to this?
Yeah, cool, man. So I was born and raised in Manadera. I took off at... And I took off at 21. I went to Australia and I had a career in hospitality for about 12 years. I lived in London, Japan. From that, I learned everything I could about business and people. And then I got to a point where I got sick of being told what to do, and I wanted to own my own business. I got sick of making other people rich, and I was like, surely I can do this for myself. I'd got quite successful in the hospitality industry and was quite well known as the guy who was sent into hotels and departments to fix them. I then got here, started building my brand. Long story short, it went really well, and then everyone asked me to do it for them. And I just reinvested every single dollar back into building a really good team. And now we're about 6 years in. There's 40 of us. We probably are responsible for about 1.5 billion views a year. Sorry,
decent.
Month would be crazy. 1.5 billion views a year organically, so without paid, which is pretty epic for a little business out of New Zealand. We are kind of punching above our weight, and probably as an agency brand, we're the largest agency brand by way of followers on social media globally. The only people who are really bigger than us when it's a personal brand, like take a Gary Vee or something like that as instance. But as an agency brand, we're the biggest globally, and that's allowed us to expand our client base to the US, UK, Dubai, Australia.
So you are international. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because when I came across you, the first thing I noticed, I was like, this is a guy who does digital marketing who actually has followers. It's like going to a barber with a shit haircut most of the time. 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because in trades, I always talk about it being the painter with the worst painted house. That's what everyone does, right? And it's like Sparky's got lights falling out his ceiling.
100%.
And it was just funny because my brother's an electrical engineer. Sparky first, sort of graduated his way up. But you go to his house originally, and there's just like lights not working, things everywhere.
Illegal cables clipped along the wall.
Exactly right. He knows enough to be dangerous in it. And it's the same with social. I just couldn't understand, coming from hotels, how are you selling this service when you can't actually do it for yourself? And so that has been it's a big premise of our entire business. We don't sell anything we haven't proven to do it for ourselves.
Okay. So how did you go from hospital or hotel management? Where did the digital marketing social side come from? Is it something you'd done before, or?
It's so when you're a general manager in any business, the reason it's called that is that you're generally managing the business, right? You have to have an understanding.
Everything.
Yeah. So I understood marketing, I understood all that, because if you don't, you're not going to make money.
Yeah.
If you can't market the hotel, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So I knew enough, and then I met a guy who, to be honest, when I think back of it, he's a bit of a shark. He charged me $9,000. The hotel paid for him.
Yeah.
The hotel owner, if he's watching, thanks for paying for my investment for my business. But it was $9,000 to this guy who coached me on LinkedIn and how to use it. And it was probably the best $9,000 ever spent, though, because it built this. It taught me, here's a way to acquire clients by building brand on a platform and doing direct outreach.
Yeah, okay.
And then I used that when I moved back to New Zealand to just start this. It gave me the confidence. I was always entrepreneurial, but it gave me the confidence of how to go from 0 to 1 in the client.
Yeah, you know
space.
the process and how to do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like, that's kind of how I got to that point and how I got into this world. It's just like getting taught by this guy, this thing, and then reinvesting money constantly to keep learning.
Okay. It's quite funny because it's a cliche, but I was the same as everyone else. Yeah. You and Luke always going on about LinkedIn. I'm like, are you serious? Like, you're just like, congratulations on your achievement. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it just because it's so easy to make a difference on there?
Oh, look, it's foundational to any branding because, foundational actually is probably networking, which, to be honest, in the trades world, massive. Relationships, everything.
Yep.
And every industry, relationships is everything, actually. But then the next layer for me would definitely be LinkedIn, because when you think about it, you can search and interact with people based on their job title.
Yeah.
And if you think about every business, we definitely think of the jobs people have when we're trying to sell to them.
Yeah.
Like, take it as a Sparky, you'd much rather deal, and no offense to the people who I'm going to call out for your jobs, but you'll much rather deal with a CEO of a listed company than you would with someone who stacks shelves at Countdown.
Yeah.
Right? Like, totally. Not because they're worse people, but just because they're going to have bigger jobs.
Yep.
That's it. That's just the realities of life.
Yeah, more potential earnings.
Exactly.
Totally.
And it's not that you won't take other people's money, because everyone's money buys the same stuff. You're just going to get more out of it from these people with higher earners.
Yeah.
If you are a professional services person and I want to target accountants, LinkedIn's the only platform I can do that on. I can't go to Instagram and go, I only want to talk to accountants.
Yeah,
they're not categorized that way.
No.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that every single piece of content style that you put on LinkedIn performs well.
Yeah.
But more importantly, written content performs well.
Yeah, okay.
Really well. I mostly just do written content.
Yeah, because videos don't.
They do okay, but not as good.
Yeah.
As like the algorithm on LinkedIn's still trying to figure itself out. We won't go into that. That's a whole hour podcast.
Okay.
But written content on LinkedIn is top notch, and like it's such a low investment to put content out as written. Like it's really easy to do these days with ChatGPT. If you're a Spark, you don't want to write, just use AI.
I use it for everything, mate.
Just use it for everything, right? So that's why LinkedIn, it's like low investment, high return, targeted audiences based on job title, and I just don't think you can do that anywhere else.
Yeah, well, it's the most transparent way to build a network in that sense, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Just before we try and get some gold out of you. Attention seeker. So you've been going for 6 years.
Yep.
Where are we up to now with that? So how many staff you're running now? What's the story?
Yeah, so about 6 years. We'll be about 6 years in October, and we're 40 staff now, roughly full-time equivalents. We've got 2 offices here. One we've got a studio just around the corner on Cromer Road and McCalvey Street. Clients globally. We're probably, like, as a business, as we talked about, our reach, we're at 2.8 million followers across our brands and do about 35 million views a month just for our own brand. The clients that we're sort of working with, we're working with the likes of like One New Zealand, 660, Pizza Hut, quite a lot of well-known brands. But then we also work with lots of like small one-man bands, like Drew Knowles, who's a stress coach. He still turns over a pretty good penny, but it's just him.
Yeah.
Just one, all the way up to like Fortune 100 companies out of the US who are $50 billion companies.
So you'd have to be pretty agile to do that, because I would imagine the strategies are wildly different depending on who you're working with.
For sure. I think the strategies are, when you think of strategy when it comes to social, It's less. There's strategy and then there's creative. And if you're not in the world, you don't really know. I still don't really understand what it is because I come from hotels. But the guys in advertising who I pay too much money to, they pretend that this is a real thing. There's strategy and then there's creative. The creative side of it is what most people think is strategy.
Yeah.
Like the sort of layman person who has no real idea of the industry, that's what they think. The strategy part is actually kind of all the same all the time for organic.
So it's just principles.
It's just like, oh, on Instagram you do this thing, and LinkedIn you do this. The reason that expands with the bigger clients or the different clients is because of budget, really. How much can we do, really, is what that is.
Yeah.
The creative side is the stuff that's like, what are we going to say? How are we going to say it? What's the format? How does it look? That's the real strategy
How
piece.
are we wrapping it up?
Yeah. What's the story we're trying to get across to people?
Yeah.
And that bit's, that's where the real value lies.
Yeah,
That's where the real value lies. Like, in today's world with AI and with the speed it and every man and his dog having a camera and everyone just being able to start a podcast because they want to, right?
Yeah.
To cut through the noise, you need your creative to be excellent.
Yeah.
Like, you just need it to be good. And the only real way to get it to excellent is just doing shitloads of it. So that's a big thing for us in that sort of space.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's kind of a cliche being a man in his late 40s or early late 30s, early 40s with a podcast. I think if you've not got a podcast, you probably bucking the trend a bit.
Exactly. How are you not going through a midlife crisis like the rest of us? What are you doing, mate?
It's instead of buying a motorcycle these days,
start a podcast.
Cool. Well, obviously our audience is mainly tradespeople, particularly sparkies.
Yeah.
So I really want to dig into this because I'm not an expert on it, but I've seen enough to have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
So I get asked quite a lot, like, who would you recommend for digital marketing? Yeah. Guys don't know the difference between sales and marketing and advertising. Yeah. So what I see a lot is guys build a flyer and then they go and see a digital marketing agency and they pay them, $2,000 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, not seeing any leads. Well, you've got to do 6 months before you'll see it. All that jazz. So I'm not here to go and bash those people.
Nah.
I just want to myth bust a bit and see how you'd approach it if you were a trade business owner.
Yeah, mate. I got heaps to talk on this topic.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think trades is one of those areas. Like, there's a lot of them. Real estate's another one. Probably the entire property market in New Zealand is probably it. And that just is really slow to catch up. And there's a couple of reasons why. I think the first one is that when the property sector is going good, everyone's creaming it. No one cares.
And they take the foot off the gas and get sloppy.
Yeah. Everyone. Trades, real estate agents, brokers, everyone. They don't care because the whole economy is built on property.
Yeah.
So when property's hot, we're all laughing. And let's be honest, in New Zealand, the property market is usually better than it is worse. When it's bad, everyone cries about it. Yeah. But it's actually bad far less than it is good.
Yeah, but Kiwis are also brought up that the only way you're going to become wealthy is through property or buying a house.
Exactly.
And it's starting to change. And to be honest, it's more like storage. It's basically another Kiwi saver these days because you've got to sell and buy in the same market, right?
Exactly. But because of that, because you have these feasts and famines, we going for, I don't want to do anything. I need to do everything. Yeah. And that's what's happening in the marketing space. So, and when you go, then the second thing that's wrong with it is you going, I need marketing, but actually what you're saying is I need sales. And you said this before, you're confusing the two, and then two different things. Sales is a very different thing to marketing. And if I was to say to a tradie, if they come to me and they're like, oh, I need some leads, I would say, wow, tough shit. You're too late. You're too late for it. Everything that comes through, whatever we do, is going to be dirty. The money's going to be terrible. They're going to question everything. They're not going to be good.
Okay.
And every time they say that, they're going to be like, no, but I just want quality. I want people ready to buy. I want this and I want that. And it's like, when have you ever gone and spent $5,000 just off clicking a button?
Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
I've never done it. You're not going to do it.
Nope.
And so, but you do a big job at home. Let's say you're doing the kitchen or something, and you need a sparky to come in. You've got a pretty big gig going on. There's a lot of moving stuff. It's going to cost you thousands to get that done.
Yep.
And so it should. But I'm not buying that off an ad.
Yeah.
I'm not buying off ad.
It's pretty flash.
Yeah.
That's a great font.
Yeah, exactly, right? You're just not going to do it. Not unless you already know who that person is.
Yeah.
If you already recognize the name, recognize the person, you might.
Yeah.
Because it's the nudge you needed to get over the line, but you've known them from somewhere else. And you've known them from somewhere else because of marketing. And that's what marketing does. And there's a misconception. Well, it's not a misconception, but there's a stat out there that only 5% of all your customers are ready to buy right now. 95% of them aren't.
Yep.
And that 5% has to be shared across every single person in the industry. And the other 95% are just sitting and waiting, and one day they'll be ready.
But that means that you cannot ignore that 95% as well, right?
Exactly.
That's you're investing in your future by speaking to those people, right?
That's the difference between marketing and sales. You're selling to 5%, you're marketing to 95%.
Yep.
That's it.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of Sparkies look at marketing the same as advertising, essentially. So you put in a transactional deal down.
Yeah.
And I think I find it hard to explain because I'm probably pretty new to it myself.
Yeah.
The value of building your brand and brand recognition. People just can't see it. It's too abstract.
Yeah.
You know, and it's you can't measure it.
No.
So what are your thoughts on that?
It's just trying to like bring it back to something they understand. And the easiest way sometimes to do it is thinking about the things that purchases you're making. Like, why did you make these purchases? A real good example, actually, in the construction world is just all the shit that Ryobi gets for its tools. Right, the amount of slack it gets.
They're actually all good now.
And you know what? This is the funny thing is that their brand, like, there's other brands like Makita or whatever that people are going, fuck, you can't have that. You need to have this one over here. Blah blah. There is brand.
Yeah.
You're not buying Ryobi at a quarter of the cost because someone told you that they're no good and you should buy this.
Oh, like if you go onto a construction site with like an Azito or a Ryobi drill, everyone's, what is it, your first day, mate?
Exactly.
Like, you know, you all right?
And so that's all brand stuff. Your purchasing decisions are getting made based off of brand.
Yeah.
Not because you saw an ad.
No.
Right? Not even price.
Exactly. Not even price driven.
You know, because we go, oh, customers won't pay money for stuff. It's like, you're a customer.
Yeah.
You are going to spend 4 times as much to buy this drill instead of that one.
Yeah.
And look, let's be honest, Ryobi knows its market position. It knows who it's doing. It's doing the DIYers and the people that it knows that it's not going to the trades.
Totally.
It understands who it's trying to go for. But that's all brand. Yeah, it's all brand. And so then once you understand that, you're like, okay, yeah, well, fair. I'm only buying the things I want because of the brands I like. And it's like, yeah, but you understand your brand too, right?
Yeah.
Like your Sparky business, or you as a person, your brand as well. People can get to choose you or someone else. And if you're a shithead, they're not going to buy you, right? They're not going to spend money with you. But if you come out and show the world how great you are, or even just like, not even how great, that's even, like in New Zealand, that doesn't fly because people, you know, until Poppy gets to everyone's head. But if you just go out and say, hey, I'm a good bloke that, you know, I'm the type of guy you go to the pub with.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. In New Zealand,
relatable.
That's all you want from a tradie.
Yeah.
You just want to know I can go to the pub with the guy.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you're trying to look for. So by putting that out, people will do it. And the best way to do it, actually, as a tradie,
this is what I want.
Yeah, the best way to do it as a tradie is just document the stuff that you do, because it's really hard to be funny. It's really hard to make really good things. And like some tradies are just naturally really, you know, got the gift of the gab, like all industries. But the thing that people don't understand is that people's everyday normal is super interesting to other people.
Yeah.
There's the reason why like time lapses of people mowing lawns go off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, that's actually really fascinating of how he did that.
Yeah.
And you think about like we had a person that we're doing some work with as an electrician, and I was trying to tell him, mate, you need to do some more content.
Was this a client of yours?
Yeah, client of ours. Okay. We're doing some other stuff with them. Actually, they do a lot of our electrical work, and I was saying to him, you know, I know you don't have the budget for us to do it, but here's some like real simple things. And I was like, just put a chest cam on when a guy is redoing a switchboard.
Yeah.
I was like, you know how fascinating it is and how satisfying it is to watch an old crappy switchboard get put in for a new one, right?
Totally.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just would.
Yeah.
Because other people's normals are fascinating to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's why reality TV does what it does. So I think like for a lot of tradies out there, and Sparkies in particular, you do things that the rest of us have no clue about.
Yeah.
Like we have no clue.
Yeah.
But I get it because I interact with what you do every day. I understand how to turn a light switch on.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
You don't know what's behind the wall and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
My brother was trying to tell me how, you know, he put 2 switches in other end of the hallways.
Two-way.
Yeah, and then he also had a sensor light.
Yeah.
And he was like he was so proud of himself to do the logic.
Seen this?
He's like, look how good this is. Blah, blah, blah. He's explaining. I was like, actually, that is pretty cool.
Was he drawing the switches and the lines on the table? Yeah.
I was like, that's actually pretty cool, bro. That's actually really cool that you've done that. And he's like, yeah, and I put the delay on timer on all this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. And now he's just wanking on. But that stuff is fascinating for people who don't know it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a really cool angle. So it's kind of storytelling, but it's also just like POV, day in the life type stuff.
Exactly. Don't even have to edit them much. Like you don't even just show us what you're doing, or just show us real simple stuff. There was that, you know, in the crazy things that you see, like there was that electrician in Australia recently. I don't know if you saw this, but he went to a switchboard and it stunk. He's like, hey, this one's stinking. And by the way, he opens up and there's steam coming out. And there's a fucking dead snake.
Oh,
there's a dead snake sitting there. I don't know if you've seen it, but it just went off.
I've definitely seen mice in there.
Exactly. And you can do the same with mice, right? Just record that, show it. There's 20 million views.
Even the bad stuff, like some of the craziest stuff you see as a Sparky is like the houses you have to go and work in. Like, no word of a lie, I knocked on a door of a house on a council estate in England years ago. They opened the front door and I yacked on the lawn because of the stench that came out of the house. It was horrendous, mate.
That's content gold.
There were like piles of dog shit behind the TV. And the owners are just sat there like smoking rollies and drinking Skull. It's like, get me out of here.
My brother once sent me a photo of someone who'd put a screwdriver into the... as the what do you call it? The resistor, the what do you call it? The bloody breakers.
Oh yeah.
They put a thing because it kept on tripping.
Yeah.
So they put a screwdriver in so it wouldn't trip.
Yeah. That's an old trick. Like, you put a nail in there. It's got like a 500 amp fuse.
Yeah. And it's just like, mate, the house has got to burn down.
Yeah, it's scary, eh?
And so I think those sorts of stuff are really great. Like you can just showcase your day. You don't have to edit a whole lot. You just see random stuff. Yeah. What will happen? And so a lot of people will be like, well, what does that do for my business? Does it talk about business or anything? All it's doing is it's putting your face in their mind constantly. Yeah. And then if you do want to go run those ads when a time gets tough and when that down market, people are going to go, oh, that's Jack. I know Jack.
Yeah.
Jack's the guy who did the snake video. You know, like let's get him in. We actually do need some help.
Yeah.
And so you're going to steal a much higher portion of that 5% than your
just because they feel safe because they've got the recall of you.
Trust. There's something about actually on trust with tradies. Tradies are one of those industries where you don't feel a lot of trust when you bring in a tradie for the first time. Yeah. And because, you know, you don't know. It's like going to a doctor, you don't know what they're saying. So you just have to trust them, right? And with tradies, you know, they probably do themselves a disservice is that they don't look as trustworthy as like the lab coat that a doctor might put on.
Yeah, totally.
Instantly my brain does it. Guy rocks up, he looks scruffy or whatever. You just kind of think, oh, okay, can I trust this guy? Is he right? I got no choice. I have to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's too many horror stories around it that get it wrong. So by putting your face out there the whole time and building a reputation, if you start delivering bad work, I mean, your comments are going to be littered with stuff. So it's real easy to call the bad ones out. Yeah. So if you're a bad tradie and you don't want to be known, maybe don't do it. But if you're a good tradie, put yourself out there and you'll just get comments about how good you are all the time. And I'm going to trust you now. Yeah. And we know with tradies that once I trust a tradie, I'm not switching. Like my electricians, I've used him now for 3 or 4 years to do different stuff in our studios and whatnot. Because every time he does a perfect job, and I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the hardest things in our game of bringing on new clients. Because you go on like outbound builders and construction companies and like, no, I've been using Bruce for 30 years, so you've got to wait for him to die, them to have a massive fallout, you know, and that's the only time you can get in. So it's bloody tricky for sure. Yeah. Because I'm just in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, is there any advertising or marketing that I remember from the electrical industry? And the only one I can come up with is like the old laser adverts.
Oh, no, I don't even
know.
Like
0800, get laser.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whatever the hell it was. And I can't think of anything else. And that must be a 20-year-old radio advert, you know?
They just don't do it.
No. And the only Sparkies who seem to have any idea and any kind of presence on social media is the chicks.
Yeah.
And they go, you know, girl Sparky or whatever. Yeah. And they're normally not terrible to look at. Yeah. But they're doing a similar thing, day in the life. Yeah.
Let's be honest, it's all other men tradies watching them probably. Yeah. But they are right. They just get it.
Yeah, nobody's going, oh, she's not loom them cables. For
But you know, what's really interesting about this as well is that there's the Inspired Unemployed. They built their
guys.
whole massive multi-million-dollar business that they got off comedy parodies of tradies.
Yeah.
It all started there.
Yeah.
And now they do everything. But I mean, their Better Beer made them 50 mil or something the first year or something. Like, they've just gone off. And they've just gone and built this whole thing on tradie content. So I guess my point there is tradie content is fascinating. People want to watch it.
Yeah.
Play into the tropes. Play into it all. When we did the stuff I was telling you before, we're doing some stuff for another trade expo, and we were the content we made for them was just slapstick, bit of fun, bit of poking the beer and stuff. And it went off because people instantly got the humor. They instantly understood the video. You didn't have to really try that hard. And that's why when we went with them, they were like, this is the brief. We're like, oh, look, they had a pretty small budget. And I was like, you know what? Like, it's actually not that hard to do.
Yeah.
We can smash this together in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because tradie humors, we all get it. We all understand it. We all know a tradie. We've all worked with tradies. We get it. So I think for a lot of tradespeople, when they're trying to do this, I think you don't actually have to spend too much money, because the best content you're going to make is out in the job. And you can't pay for someone to do that. It's too expensive. Unless you just hire a young kid to follow you around for camera all day, and then you just get
one of
annoyed.
these guys.
Yeah, one of these guys. And then just follow you around all day long, right? And to be honest, if you did that, if you had the budget to do it, you'll crush it. But what I want to get into more, actually, even better, is the systems once it leads in.
Yeah.
Man, the tradies world are useless, and I'm going to say it's 99% of them are useless at customer journey flow.
Yeah.
I'll say that, and they probably won't even know what I'm talking about. They'll be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. What's their experience from when they approach you, right?
Exactly. When a lead comes in, how fast are you talking to them? What's the customer care look like? There's a the Sparky we use, Jordan. Jordan's got this roll, and it'll probably, like, if you rolled it out, it'd be longer than this room, and it's a flow chart
of the process.
Of the process. He got a person in to have a map it all out. Every single touch point is on point. He's like, and at every point of his flow chart of where we interact with customers, like, how do we do this better?
Yeah.
Like, how do we make this better and faster? And he's mapped out the whole thing. So it doesn't matter how good your marketing and everything is. If the lead comes in and he takes 2 days to call back, mate, they're gone.
Well, I mean, because we do a lot on obviously systems and processes and all the rest of it. At the minute, though, because the whole industry is so flat, everyone's screaming about sales. As you said before, when it's busy, you go, we can probably. I'm showing my age there, right? We can probably do that for you, mate. It's going to be a big job, though. And you're just making them feel like shit, like you're doing them a favor,
exactly,
to do their work. You know what I mean,
mate? I'm paying your mortgage. Like, come on in and do this for me.
But it is changing our game. So, sort of in the past, and particularly when I was coming up through the ranks and all the rest of it. We didn't give a shit, mate. We just wanted to go and, like, smoke darts and drink piss, you know what I mean? We were absolute animals back in the day. And then you get the young Sparkies coming through now. They're a lot smarter. They're not into partying. And I think we're going to see a big change in the industry because, like, the other side of it is as well, and I'm like a broken record with this, but the bar of entry to start any business in New Zealand, but it particularly applies to tradies, they go, oh yeah, I can fit off a PowerPoint. Yeah. I'm going to start my own business and smash it. They don't know anything. They don't know what tax is. They don't know what margin is. They don't know what provisional tax is. They don't know how the hell to sell anything or present themselves. So that's kind of our whole mission, is trying to, as I said before we started, I'm using this as an opportunity to go and ask experts the questions I want to know the answers to, Mate,
it's such a good point. And I think it is an industry that needs some consolidation. The hardest thing of the consolidation here is that you just won't get people to work for you because they want to work on their own. But you're exactly right. There's lots of people, essentially freelancers. They're essentially freelance electricians, right? And that's what they're doing. And they don't know how to run it properly. And they would actually make so much more money if there was some consolidation in there and do it. But I think that for the mid-sized companies in electrical, or all the tradies, they've got the biggest opportunity, I think. Someone who's a good leader, who can bring people in and run a good business, has the most opportunities marketing the right way. They're not so big that they've become a 4,000 sort of person. They're not going to be a Fletcher's or something like that. But they're going to be like, they might get to 40 people, 50 people or so. Those businesses will crush it. And if they do their marketing right, they'll get to pick and choose their jobs. And then they could probably have a bunch of affiliate freelancers that they can go, hey, mate, here's a little gig. This guy needs a light switch.
There you go. Yeah,
you know? Yeah. Whereas these things, they can really own it. And they'll only do that by being really sophisticated with their marketing. But they have to let go of the approach of, I need it to look cool and be cool. They need to understand, I need my audience to want to watch my content.
Yeah, it's got to be engaging.
It's got to be engaging.
Yeah.
Too much of the content now is like, a bunch of guys standing around a van be like,
yeah.
And
Use us.
Yeah, that's
like, we've got 7 vans now.
Yeah, look how cool we are. You know how much of high purchase I've got? Yeah.
Our boss has got a massive deck.
Yeah.
Get involved.
I love it.
Yeah. No. It's a constant struggle, because I think the other thing we're going to see shortly as well is, I can't pull the stats right out of my head, but there's so many sort of boomer business owners now that are about to retire, don't have a succession plan.
Yeah.
The market is going to be flooded with these businesses that are up for sale.
Yeah.
And I think if you've got your ducks in a row, you can swoop in, steal the customer base, use the branding to your advantage.
Yeah.
Maybe still run it as a separate company.
Yeah.
This is where you go, whatever the company is, John's Electrical.
Yeah.
Let's give the whole brand a refresh and get it out there, You know
what I find with that? Because I agree. I think it's absolutely going to happen. I think that I think there's an opportunity for some disruption here, but 2, I think it won't happen. And I think all that will happen is it'll mean lots more revenue, lots more people, because there's less competitors, and then everyone will be like, can't be bothered with that.
Yeah.
It's good times again.
Yeah.
We've gone through the tough times the last few years. The good times will come eventually. And I honestly reckon what will end up happening is, in 2 years from now, no one's talking about marketing in Tradies world, because everyone's everyone's buying a new ute. Everyone's fucking creaming it.
Yeah.
And so I actually think that's what will happen. But if someone's smart enough out there, there's an opportunity to do what you said, but also just to take the world by storm by having a great marketing. Like over the next year or 2, really investing in a great market presence and everyone loving your content, watching it. Yeah. When this starts to happen, just because you bought the business off the old guy doesn't mean I'm going to stay with you. I was with John.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't mean I'm coming with you. I've been watching this guy on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, and he's awesome. I'm going to go switch to him.
So there's going to be way more people looking for a new trades business or
they're going to switch.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a moment of people switching, even if I'm switching because of acquisition, it's turmoil. Like, you don't know where they're going to go. It's one of the worst bits about buying a business through acquisition to get customer base. Is that you don't know how many they're going to come over. We've looked into it a bit as our business, like buy agencies. And the problem with it is those relationships are very tenuous and they're with the old owner.
Yeah.
And so you need the old owner to come over, but then I don't want the old owner in it because he's
he's still going to think it's his and
Exactly. So I'm going to buy this business at premium to get 40% of their clients to come over.
Yeah.
Instead, why don't I just go be the biggest brand in town?
Yeah.
And when they all start closing these other businesses, their clients are saying, should we just go to see Stan now?
There is one cheeky way you can do this on the sly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should put this out there. When the businesses close, when they wrap up, you just ring them and go, hey, can I buy your phone number and your email address?
Yeah, nice.
And then all the leads just come into you anyway.
Nice.
Give you $300, mate. Sweet as.
That's it. Don't even buy the business.
Yeah. But no, I do know what you're saying there, and it is going to leave some slack in the market that can be really capitalised on.
Yeah.
I think the message from today, and you've really given me some insight there and cleared it up, is just there's no competition in marketing in trades businesses. No. So if you go and do something, you're probably going to clean up.
Like, I can't overstate the importance of that message.
Yeah.
Just do anything.
Yeah.
There's no one doing anything.
Yeah, just do fucking something, you lazy
Tell me,
bastards.
like, do you have any tradie influencers that you watch in New Zealand? Like, is there many good ones? I can probably think of 4.
I don't think I'll think of any.
There's bugger all.
No.
See, you're in the industry and you can't even think of it.
Yeah, but I hate electrical work as well.
Yeah,
it's
well,
the
that's
last
true.
thing I've been looking for, mate.
But like, you will, when you're in an industry, you hear of it.
Yeah.
You just hear of it. You hear it around. Like, other marketers, they know us. Because they're like, we know these guys because of what they do. No one's done it. The only real person who was doing really well in New Zealand was Scott Brown Carpentry in the tradie world.
Okay.
He did a YouTube channel and it blew up. Now he just does his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's got 500,000 subscribers and now if you want to work with him, it costs you a fortune to get a brand deal and whatnot. And now he just builds his own house and does his own fun projects that he wants to do, right? But that was a bit different. He wanted a slower pace of life, but he was massive, like doing 500,000 views on every video kind of thing. It was huge. But there's a couple of guys that I've seen and that do tradie stuff, but there's almost no one. Like it's essentially zero are doing it. When you think how many Sparkies are in the country, how many builders in the country,
there's so many.
No one's doing anything. They're doing absolutely nothing. Some young kid is going to come and cut everyone's grass soon and just go, I'm going to do it. And but the funny thing is that our generation of guys have the most interesting stuff to show because they're both like probably got a gang of guys with them, so they're doing some leadership stuff, but they're also showing some bigger jobs. They're way more experienced. They've probably learned through all the mistakes, so they've got much better content.
And they've got the yarns as well if you want to go there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, because obviously I want our guys to be first off the line with this stuff and bloody get into it. So that's good.
I would tell them, if anyone's watching, if you just want to start doing something, don't underestimate LinkedIn, like we said at the beginning. Just write about the things you're going through in your day and all interesting jobs you've done and take a photo. Make sure your face is always in it. And trust me, no one, if you think no one's on Instagram, no tradies are on LinkedIn. No tradies. But you think about the commercial work that you could get through if you wanted to do commercial, that is. Not everyone does. But also just the type of caliber of people for resi jobs that you can get on there as well. Yeah. I would start there. And the second thing I do, if you just really don't want to write and you can't be bothered trying to figure out AI, is just strap a camera to your body and just document. And you probably don't want to just film the whole day because that'll be too much footage to go through. But if you're going to go do a particular thing, just hit the camera, do it. Tell you what, if you're ever doing a switchboard, I'll watch the shit out of your switchboard changeover. They're so fascinating.
I'll make sure that gets done for you, mate.
There you go. And honestly, just do it and just put it out. Don't worry about if it's good. Yeah. Just be consistent at it,
Yeah, cool. Nah, that's pretty good. And you've honestly given me gold there. That's exactly kind of what I wanted to hear from you, just the ideas on how you do it and stuff. So I'm going to really encourage some of our guys to give it a whirl. Cool. What's the crack with the book, mate? You saw I didn't know that was coming. Can we talk about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to pitch it heaps by my book.
We've got a massive audience compared to you, mate. This will change the game for you, mate.
Put me on the bestsellers list. Look, I've always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to go through that process of what it's like. I didn't really understand it either. And so I've been going through it for a bit over a year now. I've got some guys who are my coaches and ghostwriters to help me with it, to help formulate my ideas and put them into stuff, and a literary agent based out of Boston. And the goal with the book is to, it'll be the first of many, hopefully. It's just content, right? Books are just content. Yeah, that's all they are. They're just a real long form piece of content. But it also, so that's the first thing. It's also a branding exercise because author holds a real good title today. People really respect the title author still. It's still one of those things that people hold, like doctor. Yeah. Maybe not as good as doctor, but you know what I mean?
Totally agree.
It holds weighting.
There's a level of respect that comes with that.
Exactly. And the reason is because the effort someone had to go through to write a book, because you couldn't do it yourself. Yeah. So there's that effort. The book itself doesn't have a title yet, but is based on this model we built, which was called the 5 stages of attention. Yeah. And the idea is stage 1 is networking. Stage 2 is a really niche audience, like say LinkedIn. Yeah. Mostly LinkedIn is what we're talking about. Stage 3 is going broad, so going viral on Instagram and whatnot. Yeah. Stage 4 is owned audiences, so newsletters, stuff like that, where you really
mailing list type thing.
Mailing list. Yep. Podcast is another one of those. Yep. Things that are much harder to build, but once you've got them, they'll always come back. Books are also an owned audience. Yep. You buy books from authors that you've read before often. And stage 5 is global fame. This is the big famous people.
So it's almost like each stage, the wider it is, the less commitment it requires from your audience.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, and then it funnels down.
Stage 1, mate, you're my mate. There's a lot of commitment. We got to maintain a relationship, and it gets less. And then once you're super famous, I know who The Rock is. I don't spend a lot of time making sure that we stay friends.
I've been to the boozer with them a couple times.
I can't be bothered returning his calls these days. But the idea behind it is that I really want people to get across is you don't have to move forward if you don't want to. You don't have to go and start social media, LinkedIn, owned audiences. If you get enough business from networking. My brother's a mortgage broker. He doesn't do any marketing. He makes way more profit than I do. He's got 4 people in his team.
Word of mouth. The old word of mouth.
Auckland grammar boy. He's done mortgage broking for 20-something years. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows Wayno. He gets plenty of business. And he does
Wayno?
Yeah. See? Everyone knows Wayno.
I think I do know him. Always wears a hat. Lives up the coast.
Yes.
I was literally at the pub with him last week.
See? Everyone knows Wayno.
Are you serious?
Everyone knows Wayno. I told you. See? This is marketing, mate. Marketing. You don't need to get off stage one. He doesn't market.
Oh,
he just goes to the pub. Literally just goes to the pub.
He does.
That's his marketing.
He does.
That's all he does.
And then he leaves without paying for his beers.
100%. You know why? Because his wife controls all the money. Kaz has all the money. He's got none. And so case in point, you don't need to go past that. He does a great little business, makes great profit.
Yep.
It's fine. If you've got LinkedIn and you're crushing it on LinkedIn, if you don't need to grow any faster, don't go and spend money doing the next one.
Yeah.
So it gives you how to move forward in your growth and your marketing, but also gives you the confidence that I don't need to.
Yeah,
I don't need to spend the money, right? And that's why a lot of tradies, they're probably at that stage one, and they probably don't need to. They're probably good little business. A lot of tradies want a lifestyle style business anyway, so they probably don't want to go become, the huge guys. But if they do, don't go and start an Instagram account. Just go start at LinkedIn or something real small and niche and just go after a really dedicated audience. Yeah. So that's kind of what the book's trying to do. There's a bunch of stories and case studies and stuff in there that talk about how that's true. Like my brother's fucking business that actually is 100% stage one. And ideally what I want people to take away from it as a book is I'm actually just okay with where I'm at. I don't need to listen to all the noise. I don't listen to the Gary V's and everyone telling me if I do more, even Stan, because I tell everyone to do more. Yeah. I don't have to if I don't want to. Yeah. But if I want to grow, this is how you do it.
And you know how to do it, and you've got that available to you, right?
Yeah. And if you want to grow, don't think you can do it staying at stage one.
Nah.
If you want to grow faster.
You've got to cast that net wide, especially while it's flat at the minute.
Exactly.
Go fishing.
Exactly.
Bloody awesome, mate. I think we've pretty much gone through everything I wanted to bother you with.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, really appreciate the chat, mate. Yeah. And keep in touch. Hopefully we'll do it again at some point.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome.